Hello friends and welcome back to our homestead. Today I'm in a greenhouse. It's raining cats and dogs outside and I am nice and cozy in my greenhouse because I need to start my winter gardening seeds. And I actually started them about 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to show you all the failures that I have experienced. So I started seeds about 2 weeks ago for kale and for salad, for like green lettuce. And unfortunately, I think the seeds were old just because they come from good companies. If they are super expired, they did not germinate well. I think I had maybe 20-25% success at germination. But it's okay. I went back to the store and I got more seeds to start my seeds. So of course I always go for the organic. And right now, if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or Tractor Supply, they push those seeds like somewhere in a corner of the store. And I had to go find them. I'm starting my winter seeds now. Why? Because I want them to grow through the winter months. I am here in growing zone 6A. Yes, we have cold, snowy winters here in New England, and it doesn't mean that I cannot have nice, fresh produce. And I want it to be homegrown, grown in good soil, watered with clean water, and produce the best amount of nutrients for my family because we want those fresh, crunchy vegetables in the winter months. So, I want to show you my quick setup, and my greenhouse is not very pretty. There's nothing aesthetically pleasing in my greenhouse, but it's super, super functional greenhouse. So let me show you what I'm doing and explain why I'm doing it, okay? But besides that, on a rainy day, that's what I like to be in my greenhouse. So here's the pathetic germination. Not much at all. And I think honestly it was either too hot because the summer is too hot, or the seeds were just simply too expired. But anyway, so come that they are nicely established little seedlings, I'm going to be actually transplanting them. I'm going to be adding to my raised bed here inside the greenhouse. This is inside of my greenhouse. I'm going to be adding another 3 to 4 inches of fresh compost on the ground. So this is nice and rich soil. Everything has to grow in the rich soil. Otherwise, don't expect good results, right? So it's inside of the greenhouse. And if you guys know that anytime when it is cold in the winter, every additional layer provides more and more heat. So inside the greenhouse, I actually have these raised beds, okay, with a cold frames. So let me just open one up, and these cold frames close down and create more warmth inside. I do have a little, let me go over here. I have a little thermometer that I always check to see what the temperature is inside the cold frame. And also I put a thermometer right into the soil as well to monitor the temperature of the soil. And the temperature of the soil, in my experience, even in the coldest nights in New England, has never gone below 36. Okay. Now that is cold, but these cold loving plants such as lettuce and kale are perfectly fine sitting in that soil. On super, super cold nights, we can even come in and throw something extra over this cold frame, and it will produce even additional layer of warmth. Sometimes I will come and throw old blankets right on top and just sort of keep that warmth inside that the sun provides during the day, and the warmth concentrates inside, or a layer of tarp, anything to provide more heat. But putting heat, we've noticed that it is not cost effective. To run a heater or anything else has not been very cost effective because we're trying to save money and trying to be, as low budget as possible on a homestead. So couple of things that we have learned is that it is important not to water the plants in the winter months, because if you try to water them, that's a high risk of actually freezing. So late November, early December, I no longer water anything at all. It kind of goes dormant. The plants go dormant. Okay. So to say that I can go and harvest as much as I want in those really, really cold couple of months, not as much. I can get few leaves here and there, but not a lot. So that's why it's important to start my seeds, sow the seeds now, first week of August, because I want them to be established by the time I plant them into the ground, probably sometime mid to late September, into the soil here in the cold frames. And by October, they are pretty established. And then you can go ahead and slowly harvest them. But if you know lettuce and kale, it continues growing, right? Even if you keep breaking off leaves. So during the day, the sun warms up the cold frame, but at night it's cold, right? So the growth goes dormant as well. They stop growing during those really cold winter months. But what's interesting is that right after New Year, like that early January, we get a little bit more sun. The days begin to get a little longer. And all of a sudden, by February, they begin to grow more and more and more. And you can go ahead and harvest all the way till spring. So this is why I like to grow my greens for the winter months here in a cold frame inside the greenhouse. Okay. So to start the seeds, to sow the seeds, I do the same process, just like what I do in the spring. I use a potting soil, always organic, of course. I use potting soils and I use my potting trays, and that's what I always use. There's nothing special about it, but I try to fertilize them, of course, as well. The fertilizer that I use is either fish emulsion that I get from Neptune, or I just make my homemade ones, and sometimes it is just fermented banana peels and onion peels, and it helps to add some of the nutrients into the water, and that's what I use to water my seedlings. So I'm going to be doing this lettuce here, Grand Rapids lettuce, and it says the germination is in about a week or so, and they should be ready to harvest in about 45 days, meaning that they should be pretty established. And this is why I like to start them now and plant them, sow them now, I should say, so they will be ready for my winter garden. I will be even hopefully ready to harvest sometime before even the snow sets in. So I'm just going to drop a 1 or 2 per each cell, and it should be about a 1/4 inch depth, so not very deep at all. And it's simple process, nothing special to it. Okay, but it is very important that as a homesteader, I am mindful of providing very good food for my family. So let me explain what I'm talking about. There's not one study, there's multiple studies out there that talk about that our current food system is heavily dependent on glyphosate and on other synthetic fertilizers that unfortunately no longer provides us with nutritious, good food. Unfortunately, it's lacking the nutrients. So one particular study I'm referring to, and I will link and I'll show you the picture of the study, is that between 1940s and 1990s, if you compare the most common fruit and vegetables, they are depleted in minerals, such as they're down in sodium by 29%, and potassium by 12%, magnesium by 16%, calcium 16%, iron by 24%. That's a lot. And copper 20%, and zinc by 27%. It is surprising, as a functional nutrition and medicine provider, I'm often finding that a lot of my autoimmune patients are lacking in zinc. They're low in zinc. And we often teach, get it from the food. But guess what? The food is lacking the nutrients. So unfortunately, so I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of soil right on top. So about 1/4 of an inch on top so that it's all covered up nicely. Okay. So yes, so our foods are deficient in minerals, and many commercially produced foods that are grown for mass production in the United States, or even if it's from imported from other places, is lacking all of these nutrients, but they are raised this beautiful, resistant to disease and to the environmental elements foods because they're so heavily dependent on glyphosate. But unfortunately, they are not nourishing us. So I'm just going to tap it lightly. Okay. I'm not going to water it because the soil is nice and moist. And I'm going to cover this to create greenhouse effect. And I'm going to keep it right here. Now I need to make sure that it's not super hot because like I said, daytime here is still very hot. So I will take it outside and put it in a shade where it's nice and cool. All right, to the next tray. I got to fix them because the germination was so poor. Since when did the natural real food grown without chemicals became the alternative or the organic, and it has to be labeled as organic? What if we did instead the opposite? What if instead of saying organic food, we just left it alone and just called it peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, and those that were grown conventionally with chemicals? We listed the list, the long list, the laundry list of chemicals that were used to grow those produce items. Would that be interesting? Would consumers think differently before they picked up that perfectly shaped looking tomato if they knew the list of chemicals that were sprayed in the soil and on the fruit while it was growing? Do you think the consumer would behave differently? Do you think the consumer would be like, no, after knowing all the poisons that were put in a soil in order to grow that, would say, no, I'm going to go ahead and buy slightly more expensive or grow my own and convert my useless lawn into a garden and grow some vegetables instead of poisoning myself? Would a consumer act differently if we realized the effects of conventionally grown produce and fruit and vegetables and all of that has on our health? So did we ever consider why as a nation we're so overweight or obese? Between 1960s, there's a huge difference between the number of obesity we've had in the United States. Back in 1960s, obesity was only at 13% in the United States. Now obesity is at 42%, and that's kindly speaking. Okay? But also if we look at just overweight, today we have 72% of Americans are overweight. That is a staggering number. And then if we compare what's going on with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and I'm not talking about the type 1, I'm talking about type 2. It has tripled since 1960s. Guess when glyphosate started being used and other chemicals heavily started being used to grow food in the United States? You guessed it, 1960s. So is there correlation? I don't know, but so far I see a major causation. And of course, I'm not a scientist like some people may think. But anyway, so let me grow these vegetables for the winter months for my family. And I want to encourage you to review what you're doing for your food supply for your family. So be encouraged, learn more about winter gardening, and try something new.